Imagine you're having a nice evening at home with your family. Then you hear a shout outside and someone breaks down your door. Then they begin to trash everything you ever worked for. Then you're arrested and taken to a concentration camp. This is the harsh reality for many Jews during the Holocaust. The Holocaust is an area of time that I've been interested in. I believe it's important to be educated on the subject. While we think history can never repeat itself in something as harsh as what happened to the Jews, it's still very good to be informed on this. That way we can be prepared in case something were to happen later on in life. Now let's take a step back in time and take a look at what happened before, during, and after Hitler's rule. Before Hitler ruled, Jews were just average, happy people. They had their daily routine. Most of them went out, and mainly guys went out, and they had jobs anywhere from tailors to doctors. The children usually went to school, and if not, they quit for like a craft trade, or some continued on to a university. In their free time, they enjoyed games such as hopscotch and jump rope and ping pong and just all kinds of fun stuff. And they also enjoyed reading and writing. And their family roles, the mother was in charge of the housely duties and raising the children. The father was the breadwinner. He did whatever he had to do in order to take care of his family. He made sure that they were well provided for. Now that we have discovered what happened before Hitler's rule, let's take a look at what happened during Hitler's rule. When Hitler came into power, he was a very hateful man, and he sent the Jews to concentration camps. Upon the arrival, the Jews were usually stripped of their clothes, and they worked for no money at all. They were gassed, burned, and tortured to death. According to William Lace, author of the death camps, usually the general rule was children under 14, men over 50, and women under 45 were usually exterminated upon arrival. Children were usually as well with their mothers because they didn't want to go to the trouble of separating them. They were given little to drink and only a moldy piece of bread to eat, which is not near enough for a person to survive on, and they were used as test subjects as part of medical experiments, and starvation was one of their experiments. They wanted to see how long a person could survive without having hardly any nourishment. Some lost their families in the very beginning, and others just watched their families suffer and had to continue on without them. So far we've covered what happened before and during Hitler's rule. Now let's take a look at what happened when rescue came. The U.S. as well as other countries came in, and the Nazis knew that they were in trouble. They began to destroy the concentration camps. They put nearly as much effort destroying them as they did in building them to hide the evidence. When U.S. arrived, they knew something wasn't right because things were just abandoned and something was wrong. They tried to move the Jews to the heartland of Germany, so it looked like the killing had only gone on there. When the U.S. arrived and the Jews were just cheering them on, and they couldn't believe rescue was finally there. Hitler knew that he was caught, and in his final hours he married his long-lost companion Eva, and they killed themselves together. After the Jews had been freed, they didn't know what to do. Most of them had nowhere to go. They had no homes. They had no family. Some died because they were so malnourished that when the soldiers were kind and gave them candy, it just killed them immediately because they weren't used to having food. So they basically were just lost. I hope today that you learned something new, and that by becoming aware of this, then hopefully we can keep history from repeating itself. I hope this refreshed your memory, and just remember that Hitler's hatred just grew out of control, and I hope that no one ever has to endure what the Jews did. For my references, I have the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum. It's www.ushmm.org. And a few of the books that I used were by Callan. His book was called The Holocaust in 1940 to 1944 in Edina, Minnesota. It was published by Abdo and Daughters. Another author was Weinberg, and it's called Germany, Hitler, and World War II. It was published in Cambridge, New York by the Press of Cambridge. And another author was Lace. His book was The Death Camps. It was published in San Diego, California by Lucent Books Incorporated.